You're watching Leafs Morning Take with host Nick Alberga and former NHLer Jay Rosehill. The show starts now.
Okay, first things first, Jay Rosehill, was that you in the YouTube chat yesterday?
Yeah.
Okay, because you caused quite the stir, quite the controversy. People were like, it's a Jay Rosehill imposter. I just wanted to clarify that was you in the YouTube chat yesterday.
I was doing a little workout, and first thing that popped up was the show, so I checked in on you guys. I can't remember what I said, just called you guys dusters or something like that. But then Labushkin was coming on, and then I had to go. But yeah, I didn't realize it caused a stir. My goodness.
What did you think of? So we showed Hutz's fight because I brought up the fact that on Tuesday night we almost saw Gibson and Mrazek go at it, and then Hutz brought up again, as he's done before on the show, that he scrapped Peter Mrazek in the AHL. Threw a couple bombs. You see the scrap that we showed?
Well, I caught the tail end of it, and you guys were. I think I said something about Hutz dummying him or whatever, but I couldn't go back and check it all out. But sounded like a thorough win. But then some guy's comment was like, am I missing something? I didn't even see him do anything, or I don't know. But I just didn't have time. But nonetheless, I like the idea that they were going. He was in a goalie fight. It's all gone down before, so that was cool to see.
Yeah, that's got to jack up a room when the goalie scraps. Like, I was laughing the other night. Two teams that have no bearing at all in the standings, at least the upper echelon of the standings, maybe more so for Macklin Celebrini, who's expected to go first overall. And they're looking to get after it, which I got nothing wrong with that. We're getting after it here on the Friday edition of Leafs Morning Take, presented by Betano, Nick Alberga, and Jay Rosehill once again following another Maple Leafs victory. No Marner, no problem again, eh?
I know, hey, that was a convincing W. I got to catch some of it in, yeah, man, start to finish. It was pretty dominant. I think that Flyers team took a step back. Goaltending wasn't very good, and our boys were just buzzing in the ozone.
Hey, did you like the Bobby McMahon extension the other day?
Yeah, I did. He stepped up huge. He got him for 2 years for cheap. So why wouldn't you like that? He's been a good player that's chipped in and been a good asset to this team. And you can lock him down and guarantee that guy for a couple of years for, I mean, in this day and age, nothing, right?
1.35. I mean, the cap's going up this summer. Again, next season, you're paying Nylander his new contract. You're paying Matthews his new contract. You're going to need guys who make a mill and a half to filter in up and down that lineup. So I'm right there with you. It's an absolute win. And man, it's hard to believe just 15 games ago, Bobby McMahon was supposed to be a healthy scratch for that game against the St. Louis Blues, where Riley got suspended. And then last minute, it was like an hour before puck drop. Marner couldn't go. Tavares couldn't go. McMahon steps in, pots a hat trick. I know somebody on the outs right now that can do that very same thing with Calle Yarncroke out. I think that we're going to talk about on today's show, right?
Oh, Bobby Robertson.
Teaser.
Yeah, that's huge,
so
man. Opportunity is everything, and he took advantage of a situation. I mean, that happens. Some guys make their careers or make their entrance into the NHL or get a big contract, like by doing something big in the playoffs. Like, you get an opportunity and you seize it, and you really produce with something that's in front of you and seize an opportunity. That happens all the time, and good on him. He did exactly that. So well deserved.
Yeah. The story's actually like really incredible. Like 15 games, they've gone 12-3. McMahon's got 8 goals in those 15 games, and he got a contract extension. Like, I mean, if you're Nick Robertson, just look there and be like, wow, it is possible to make a difference up and down this roster. So we're going to talk about Nick Robertson coming up. By the way, big_Kevin C writes, oh, it was the real Rosie. What a lurker. Ha ha ha.
Yeah,
I knew it was you.
Yeah. I was lurking.
Yeah.
No, I know it's I don't know, once in a while I pop in, and then there was no engagement and I had to leave, so I was out of here. I guess people just thought I was an imposter.
No, actually, when you left, we started talking about it. I'm like, there's a couple messages from somebody named Jay Rosehill. I'm like, that's got to be him, because you're the one guy who would name yourself as like your YouTube handle. So I'm like, there's nobody making an imposter Rosehill account and it's your name just verbatim. It wouldn't make sense. So.
I know. I think, well, it started off with my kid's account, and he's always on it and looking at shit. And then I started doing this gig on YouTube, blah, blah, blah. So then I had to put like a picture of me. It's like a golf picture or some shit. But yeah, I guess if you don't know, now you know.
Exactly. So next time you see a show where Rosie's not on it and he's lurking in the chat, make sure to say hello. Make sure to say hello to us on YouTube at the Leafs Nation 401. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button once again at the Leafs Nation 401. Leafs Morning Take, wherever you find your podcast. If you're listening in podcast form, again, make sure to leave us a 5-star review. That would be outstanding moving forward. We love you forever, pretty much. Brought to you by DoorDash. It's time for the appetizer. For a limited time, our listeners can get 25% off up to $10 in value and 0 delivery fees on their first order of $15 or more. When you download the DoorDash app, enter code NATION25. That's code NATION25. All in uppercase, 25% off your first order with DoorDash. Offer valid in Canada, subject to change. Terms apply. Lots to grab from that game. Where do you want to start?
Goaltenders, maybe? Sammy Samsonov?
26 saves since the waiver stint, 13-3-0, 2.35, 912, one shutout. His 7th straight road win. I guess we should start. How stunned were you that they went back to Samsonov after Saturday's game?
Stunned. I don't know about
Yeah.
stunned. I don't know what their strategy is with it, who they're getting in, who they're getting back. It's kind of weird that they keep, well, I don't know if they keep doing it, but they've, what a game that you think they'll give a break or get Woolsey going or whatever, they give to Sammy, and then when it's like a tough, big spotlight, you know, strong opponent game, they put Wool in there. So I don't know. Like they would have done it again, like Philadelphia, Sammy, and if Wool goes in for Carolina, that's just kind of odd, man. Like maybe they think Sammy's been, Wool's fresh and Sammy's been worked a little hard and needs that break. I don't know, but to me, I'd like to see Wool get his feet under him and get some confidence going, get some W's, get that save percentage up for a couple of games, and start feeling good about yourself, where you're kind of shoulder to shoulder with Sammy, and then away you go and see who takes over control. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, a little bit. I don't know if stunned is the word, but I was a little bit like not
Surprised.
perturbed, surprised. Yeah, just kind of surprised. Oh, okay, they're doing that. And yeah, I don't know. Keith does things that I'm not really sure about sometimes, but he's got his reasons, I'm sure.
Daniel writes in, listen, Sammy, hot play. You play him plain and simple. I get it. To me, the bigger conversations now, like, do you go back to Samsonov on Saturday? You almost have to, but then, like, lurking is the fact that Joseph Woll hasn't played a game since last Thursday against Boston, which would mean you put him out there on Tuesday against Philadelphia. Like, what happens if Samsonov wins again? You just keep riding the hot hand. Next thing you know, it's like 2 weeks between starts for Joseph Woll, you know?
Yeah, see, I don't like that. I wouldn't
Yeah.
ride Sammy again if he does play against Carolina and gets the win. I don't think that guarantees he needs to go back in there. I think at this point in the season, we've talked about it. There's some rest stuff to go on. You need both those goalies. You're probably going to switch hit them at some point in the playoffs. There's no clear number one, but what is definitely concerning is that Wool hasn't got his feet under him since coming back from a fairly long and severe injury, and I don't think they've given him a fair chance to get some momentum going. Simple as that. Both games against Boston, like the toughest game on the schedule for the Maple Leafs, far and away. Like it was odd to me. Lose both of them, and now he's got to sit for 2 weeks with those losses, where he would want nothing more than to play the next night and bounce back and get a W and get some confidence. So I don't see that. If they do go to Sammy, I think I'd be shocked at that point if they don't go to Wool against Philly again. But we'll see what happens here. I would have gone maybe Wool, Sammy, from Thursday, Saturday, Tuesday, or whatever it is. So I don't know. It's odd, but they're both capable. They're both solid. I don't know who the number one is. I guess Sammy right now, but I think only because of circumstance.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Again, I would have gone back and forth, and now we'll see over the next couple weeks what they do pertaining to the crease. I thought it was a weird blowout, man, if that makes sense. Like, you ever seen a moment like the Nice goal was so bizarre where it was like a power play, but then like 3 sticks break, so it's like a 5-on-1. Like, I've never seen that. And then the whole skate blade thing, I think in the first period with Garnet Hathaway still gets into the post whistle scrum. Like, those are probably 2 things that you're rarely going to see, but especially the broken stick one. I felt so helpless for Philadelphia.
Oh, it was like those those guys are just toying with them out there. Like, what do you do? It's a pretty helpless feeling. You're used to having a big reach and you can cover some ground and take away multiple lanes, and then you're just standing there with your two skate blades on the ice, just basically useless. And it was basically a shooting gallery for a while there. But all this new age light shit seems to be
I
breaking
know.
all the time. Like these skate blades are breaking all the time. The sticks breaking have been a problem for a while. I mean, a pass back to a D man catches a pass, his stick explodes, and it's a breakaway, that type of thing, or a one timer up at the point, empty net, whatever, stick explodes. It's kind of brutal. And another problem that I see with it is when you just reach out for a little stick check and the guy's stick breaks and it's an automatic penalty. It's like the guy he didn't slash, he didn't do anything that warranted a
Yeah.
penalty. The piece of shit stick broke, and that's a penalty, which is frustrating too. So what are you going to do about that? Nothing. The way these guys are shooting with these new sticks, they're not doing nothing about that. So no big deal. But yeah, it was pretty interesting at that point in the game to have that happen to them. It was kind of when it rains, it pours for the Philadelphia Flyers.
Very curious, you being a former player, how do you feel about the whole skate blade situation and more so like not blowing the whistle? And maybe I'm in the minority in this conversation. I said this on the Leafs Nation After Dark last night with Zach Phillips, which you should check out right now, where it's like, I think if that happens, it's an automatic whistle blow. Like to me, it doesn't make sense to play hockey without a skate blade. Like I know it's going to happen, but I think it's more of a danger than anything. Like I wouldn't want to capitalize on something like that. How do you feel about it?
But what if you get into some bad areas? What if it's the playoffs? What if it's overtime? What
Yeah.
if the guy up at the point on a penalty kill loses skate blade and he's going off the thing? They go backdoor at Austin Matthews, one timer goal. He buries it. The whistle goes right before. No, sorry, the guy up at the bench had his skate blade missing. Are you kidding me? Like it would be a
Yeah.
nightmare. So I'm not. I mean, I think if you get possession of it, then you could blow it. But why would you want to blow it once you get possession? I don't agree with that. I think it's shit happens. Get the hell off the ice. Shit happens. Stand on your one foot. I don't know. I always laugh when the guys know their skate blade is gone. You have nothing but plastic to stand on the ice with, and they keep trying it as if maybe there's going to be a blade there this time. And then they fall, and then they get up and do the old hobble, and you can stand on your good foot and kind of push with the plastic, but then they try to take a full step of the plastic. Oh, I fell again. I'm just like, what are you doing, dude? There's no blade there. Have you not figured that out? I'm always yelling at the TV going, stop trying to stand on your skate. There's nothing there. I always chuckle at that, but I don't think blowing it down is the answer because, like I said, you will find a situation where someone gets absolutely screwed and it'll look like the dumbest thing in the world.
It looks goofy to begin with. My thinking, I guess, what if somebody gets hurt? I think specific to goaltending, which I think
What do you
happened
mean?
against the Leafs or to the Leafs like a couple weeks ago. I think if it's a goalie, I think it negates you from playing the position. Like I think it's a tricky conversation. I understand where you're coming from, especially in a professional and competitive sport like hockey, where you can use any edge possible. But I think it just takes the spirit out of the game. But I guess what's any different than losing something else of your equipment, right?
A stick or something? I mean, blow
Yeah.
it down if a guy breaks a stick?
Yeah,
No.
exactly. But it
No.
just
And what do
I
you
don't
mean a
know, it
guy
just
could get how could a guy get hurt? What do you mean a guy could get hurt?
I don't know, maybe if it comes on, like comes off like mid-play and you like, I don't know, you don't realize that your blade's not there. Like there's gotta be a scenario where it could happen.
That's chicken shit, Nick. I don't agree.
You think so?
Yeah, what do you mean guy could get hurt? You
I
gotta
don't know. I
blow it
just think
down now.
this
Fuck off.
I think this whole skate blade thing's a joke. Like I
They're
last time
breaking
I
too
checked,
easy. I think
yeah.
it's a manufacturer thing. You got to
Sure.
make it so they don't break. Like they got to quit
Yeah.
breaking just because you have and I don't think they're breaking. They're falling out of the holder, right? Because they're
Yeah.
they're a quick disconnect. They're a button disconnect, so you can swap them quickly. You used to have to take off your skate, pull up the
Mhm.
insole, get a wrench down there, and swap it out that way, which was obviously a big problem if you got a big nick in your skate. Now they just swap your steel out. But honestly, if you lose your shit, get on your knees and push off with your good foot till you get to the bench and get a guy back, get a change. Sorry, like shit happens. I don't know. Manufacturing got to make those so they don't come out as often if it becomes a problem. But I just don't see blowing it down as helping anybody because you usually take like a blocked shot or something to
Yeah.
lose that steal. Then you're trying to scramble. They're obviously in scoring position. They're in your zone. Blow it down. It would be no, I don't like that idea.
Anonymous writes in, wearing replaceable blades is a choice. That's a really good point. The guys are not forced to do it, but yeah, something with manufacturing has to be done there because it used to be where it's like once every like blue moon. Now it happens like every NHL game. If you
Yeah.
watch around the league, 13 different Leafs, Rosie, including Samsonov, as you illustrated in our group chat. Fourth career assist, registering a point. Pretty significant to see, I would say.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say today is one of my favorite things about that win is how they spread it out so much. I mean, depth and if Matthews has 5 point and the one line's just hotter than hell, it's like, okay, that's awesome. But let's be honest, that line's not going to be that hot all the time. But when you're
Mhm.
spreading it out throughout the whole roster and lineup, and the D are getting involved, goalies apparently, 5-on-5 goals, power play goals, it's a good sign. And this team going into the playoffs, any team going into the playoffs needs to spread the wealth and have offensive guys or guys chip in offensively from up and down the lineup. So that was really good to see.
Five different Leafs registering a goal and an assist. Liljegren, Matthews, Nylander, Holmberg, Bertuzzi. Again, the line combinations just forever juggling. The Yarncroke injury, which we'll get to, but Pontus Holmberg was elevated in the lineup. You just never know with Sheldon Keefe. But I think the best player for the Leafs was Tyler Bertuzzi again, which again is a positive. 6 goals in the last 9 games. We thought it was 7. What a beautiful tip. But to call it back the way they did on a hand pass, that it was irrelevant to the play, and I just thought Bertuzzi was in it again. Like, this is great to see the last part of the season, him playing his hockey.
Yeah, big time. This is what we were asking for the whole season. Like maybe he'll figure it out at the end of the year, closer to the playoffs, and he's doing exactly that. So, that's obviously a big positive to everyone in Leafs Nation. This hand pass, fuck me, like what a stupid call. Like when did they change that? When I was playing, you could bump the puck. You couldn't cover it in the crease. There
Yeah.
was a time where you couldn't close your hand on it or something. Like it's kind of been changing. I don't know what this rule is, but that's more than once now the Leafs have been dicked by a puck like touching a guy's hand, like coming up into the air. Remember that one up at the point? I think Morgan
Yeah.
Riley, and then it's like early on in the play, and then it's a coach's challenge to go back and dissect the video of it did touch his hand. Like fuck off. You can touch it with your hand. You always could. I don't know where this came from, especially when it just clips his fingernail while he's down on the ice. Like, that's annoying and certainly took away from probably the best tip of the year. I mean, he's lefty and it's going wide, and he like usually you're kind of right there and you just get a little tip on it. He like tipped that at like a 45-degree angle. It was
Yeah.
unbelievable hand-eye coordination and to get that towards the net. Sick goal and pretty deflating to have it pulled back. Obviously didn't matter at the end of the day, but he didn't seem to be bothered by it, I guess.
No, he didn't. The hand pass was so irrelevant to the actual goal, and that's what kills me. Is like the spirit of playing hockey has just been sucked out of us with all these fucking offside calls where like a skate blade is like a smidge over the line. Like, what are we doing here, man? Like, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it. I thought a goal like that should stand. I wasn't a fan of the Hathaway board on Austin Matthews there. I wanted to get your opinion on that. And maybe again, I was in the minority on social media. I know Max Domi got into it with Hathaway late. They got 10 minutes just to get off the ice to end the game. But I thought I was going to see a bit of a response from the Leafs on Hathaway. And that was my like negative takeaway from the night was like they let him just do his thing and piss people off and get in Matthews' face and hit some people. Like he was being a bitch out there and nobody did anything about it. And maybe I'm the only one to think maybe somebody should have. Like, isn't that why you pay Ryan Reeves to get rid of Hathaway problems?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. The hit in particular, I mean, you watch my other show, Department of Discipline. I have just been adamant about guys not cutting back and turning your back when
Yeah.
someone's engaged on you. And Austin did do that. He's going one way. The guy engages to just pin him or check him and not even run him, and then he cranks it back into the guy, and the guy folds him. So I don't have a problem with that. I mean, that's what happens when you cut back when you know a guy's on you. Um, Not the end of the world, but the way he's running around and there's no response, like there was some scrums there. And when the Leafs are in a scrum, it's always so half-hearted. It's
I
kind of
know.
like, this guy's standing there, so I'll just kind of put my hand, and then he whacks his hand away, and he's like, "Oh, okay, sorry about that." It's like, Jesus Christ, are they just dictate the scrum the whole time? They get in there, they decide what level it goes to. I want to see, bunch of jabbing around Samsonov or whoever our goaltender is at that time, guys kind of pushing and shoving. All 5 guys grab the fucking scruff and fuck you. You want to do more? We'll go as high as you want to push this thing, but we're always being dictated on what you do. Like I said, it's this half-hearted little, I kind of got my guy, oh, he pushed me off, so maybe I'll go in and try again and just say, hey, I'm just here to kind of, oh God, it's so pussyfooting around the scrums. And it's always the Leafs with this little look on their face of, oh, like trepidation, as opposed to, no, you're around our goalie. We're starting this scrum. We're going to shove you away. We're going to lock you up. And that should be it. No big deal. And if you want to continue to persist, we'll go as far as you want to go. We'll turn into a fucking brawl if you want. That's the attitude I want. But it's always the opposite. We're always the bitches in the scrum, and it does suck to watch because you want them to have some gumption and some jam and to have a little dignity and pride and stand up for yourself and be the agitator and, have that, physicality to lead forward and say, no, this is our goalie. This is our net. We're starting this because you're digging around our guy, as opposed to pussyfooting around like they seem to do most of the time.
Yeah, there always seems to be a level of hesitation. Like, would you see that from Florida? Would you see that
No.
from Boston? I was
No.
watching Washington against Edmonton the other night. The Oiler player, I think, by mistake, put it in or shot on the goalie after the whistle, and the Capitals lost their fucking shit, man. Like, I love seeing that. We've seen it a couple times in the last couple weeks where there's like this trepidation, as you mentioned, this hesitation by the Maple Leafs at times. Having said that, I think they deserve a lot more credit than, say, like back in the fall with the whole Brad Marchand thing. I think they have taken steps in the right direction to address it. Like, at least say something, at least look in the direction. I know that's probably what Domi was trying to do. Like, Domi seems to be the answer lately, where he's like, if something happens, I'm going to do something. I'm going to make a difference. So I think they deserve a pat on the back for that, though, at least.
Yeah, they've stepped it up. It's not
Yeah.
pathetic. It's not embarrassing. I'm not saying that. I would just like to see a little bit different attitude towards, a bit of an altercation or a bit of a scrum, just to kind of show a little bit more aggression is all I'm saying. But no, it's not pathetic or embarrassing like maybe it was at one point in time. And I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. For all I know, Revo is letting him have it from the bench, saying, you run one more guy, I'm going to take your head off, kind of thing. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You can't tell everything from the television, but it would be nice if a few more of those guys and like the McCabe's and whatnot just played with a little bit more snarl. I think it's easy to do, and it would benefit the team, especially in the playoffs. Simple as that. So it's not like anything crazy or outrageous or what are you thinking, Rosie? It's obvious that they could play with some more snarl, and the teams that do benefit from it.
So to paint a picture, it's 6-1 Maple Leafs, 3 minutes remaining. The Flyers take a penalty. And what does Sheldon Keefe do? Because the power play's been dog shit lately. PP1, get on there. And Rocky Thompson, the interim, I guess, right now with John Tortorella suspended, loses his shit. You're seeing it on your screen right now. Not happy, not pleased about it. The Leafs run that PP for like 30 seconds, and then they're like, Sheldon Keefe just does what Sheldon Keefe does, backtracks. Ryan Reese comes on the ice. Philadelphia scores shorthanded 30 seconds later. What'd you make of that?
I can't believe that's Rocky Thompson. I didn't realize that, man. What a legend from Calgary that back in the day. He has an interview. Google Rocky Thompson's interview. It is absolutely comical. The guy has like Bret Hart greasy hair down to here. He's got a busted up nose, a split lip, 2 black eyes, and he's talking like so genuine about just trying to get the guy. And he fought like 6 times to make the Flames when they were just shit. It was hilarious. I love that he's still in hockey. I've heard he's an absolute beauty. But I didn't have any problem with it strictly on the fact that their power play has struggled so much, and reps are everything, and figuring things out and just getting over the hump is everything. And for a power play, you can't practice it against your own guys. You're not ripping one-timers off guys' ankles in practice. You go out early, the power play does all the time to work it around. It's a fresh sheet of empty ice. It doesn't do it justice. You get chances to get the power play opportunities, especially when they're feeling it, especially when you're shelling a team. That's the time where you could really figure some shit out and find a new lane and find out how to work that thing around and get yourself going. I could give a shit about the Philadelphia Flyers feelings at that point. I understand why you don't do it and why it's frowned upon. I understand why some guys get rattled. I might get rattled at another team too if I'm coaching going, really, really. But it's your team. You look out for yourself. It's not a bunch of feelings and fucking participation awards and I'm going to make like fuck off with that. This team needs to get the power play going. This team needs to do something in the playoffs. This team has a ton of pressure on them and screw you. It's your fault you're down 6-1 or 6-2. I need my power play going. If it was any other night where the power play's clipping along and they had already gotten 3 goals in the game, 100%. Go with a different unit, mix some guys up. But at that particular point in time, their power play is like 1 or 2 for like 16 or something brutal. I don't care about you, Rocky. I don't care about the Flyers. Show up and play fucking better. I don't care. I need my power play going. That's the only thing I'm concerned about, not your goddamn feelings or the optics of it. So in that particular situation, I had no problem with it.
Rosie, my thinking is, though, these guys have played together for 7 years. Like, what's one more power play in a 6-1 hockey game? I understand a couple different looks. Yarncroke's injured, not even out there. They got Bertuzzi out there. I just think that's a really good opportunity to get, throw a bone to Bobby McMahon and guys like that. And, not like to the Ryan Reeves level, but there's guys on that roster who you could throw a bone to, say, hey, you got the man advantage, 3 minutes left, go out and score a goal. Again, if I'm going to think, if I'm going to think Ridley Grigg was classless for his move, I think I've got to feel a certain way. And that's just me, where it's like I wasn't the biggest fan of it. Having said it, I think you make some good points. I think they're fair points. I think at times you got to worry about your own team. I thought the bigger issue I probably had was that Keefe pussied out, and 30 seconds in, he throws Reeves on there, and then they score shorthanded, and that pisses off your goalie. It's like a chain effect of movement,
Like from one extreme to the other, man, is fucking dumb. Honestly, I would have done what he done, ran it just the normal, and then after the buzzer, lean over the bench or whatever and said, "Hey, Rocky, I get why you're pissed, but our power play is fucking struggling, and I got to get him going. So sorry, it is what it is." Like the unwritten rule and the code of it. I understand all that stuff, but there's a limit to it, and I don't understand why you have to take it to such an extreme, or I don't agree with having to. Sorry, our power play is really struggling. This is an opportunity for them to get some reps. And you say they've played together for 7 years or whatever. Well, if all things are being the same, why doesn't Austin just score 65 every year? Why do some guys struggle? Why does some things not click? Why is the momentum not there? Why is the chemistry sometimes not there? Why do they change lines? Why do they change PPs? It's because shit comes and goes and ebbs and flows. And if it's not going right now, you can take that opportunity to have a chance to get it going against a team that you're dismantling. Screw your feelings. I need my power play going.
Some quotes from Keefe after the game. I got no intention of doing that. We had tired people on our bench. I got to manage my team and my bench. They got a shorty out of it. Trying to double up some of our third and fourth line guys, and then we get a power play, and you don't want to put the top-notch guys out, but the other guys were exhausted. My question to you, if it's John Tortorella on that Flyers bench, does Sheldon Keefe even think of doing that?
I don't
No.
know. I don't know, man. Would John lose his marbles? I think he's lost it over that. Something similar to that before. It's a tough one, man. I mean, yeah, you might. I mean, even the way I feel about it, I feel strongly you can do whatever the hell you want, and I'm adamant about you have a struggling power play. That is a reason to say sorry about your feelings, but I got to run my peeper right now. And I don't like him backtracking, putting fucking Reeves out there, and then I don't like him backtracking, saying, "Oh, it's because guys were tired." I think it's because you wanted to work on your number one peeper that's been struggling. Too bad. And even me, if I was doing it, and I feel adamant about that's fine to do. If Torts was over there, maybe I'd second guess it too. I don't know. That guy's a maniac. So different schools of thought on it. I understand both of them, but I just think that if you have reason to say sorry, this is more important than the old honorable thing by putting out a shit peeper when you're smoking a team in the third. I think it's more important to try to get your peeper going for that reason. Any other day or any other year, I'm fine with not doing it. But in a situation where your power play has been struggling, I understand it. And I think that overtakes the feelings of the other team.
Look, there's 17 games left. Tuesday night, where are they at? Well, they're in Philadelphia. Tortorella's going to be back. There's going to be a pushback. Ryan Reeves will be in that lineup. This is why you pay a guy like Ryan Reeves. You nip this in the bud. Philadelphia's going to be running around. Hathaway's going to be pissed. They're going to try to send a message. So this is why you get a Ryan Reeves on your team. Answers the bell on Tuesday, and we put this away. But there's going to be pushback. Like, if there's one team who's going to respond from something like that, whether you agree or not, it's going to be Philadelphia, led by John Tortorella. So looking forward to that game on Tuesday. Kelly Yarncroke doesn't look like he's going to play in that game. After the game, they indicated that he's going to miss some time. And right away, I thought of the Bob McMahon story, how he relished that opportunity. Nick Robertson, man, he was not happy earlier in the week when he was called up, questioning the whole waiver process and not playing. Well, he's going to get his chance now. He's got to do something with it, right?
Yeah, same as McMahon. Like, he's gotten lots of chances and he
Yeah.
hasn't been terrible, but it's a circumstance that's difficult because he comes in and he's okay and he does pretty good and he scored that one pretty good goal, but was invisible for the next 2 games, like kind of back and forth. And when whoever it is that he fills in for gets healthy, sorry, the guy's coming back in and now you're the odd man out. And when you're on the bubble, and I've been that guy a million times, you have to do something and seize your opportunity to show that coach that you want me in the lineup and this is what I bring in. I'm hot and I've stepped up my game and I've relished this opportunity. So now I've taken that spot and Robertson just hasn't done enough to do that. And if he was on a different team in different circumstances, maybe he did, but that's just not where he sits right now with, a bunch of skilled forwards, which he is, and none of them has he, played well enough to replace. So that's just the situation he finds himself in. Like you say, Bobby McMahon has come out there and done things to earn his spot in the lineup. And Robertson, they feel he hasn't. So here's another opportunity. Go and seize it. You go and get a hat trick. Guess what? You're not on the lineup next game. So, he's a good player. I thought he was a good piece because he was kind of hasn't been playing very well coming into the season, and then he's done things to kind of up his stock or continue his relevance. I thought he'd be a good trade piece, but nothing came across, and maybe he'll be a good trade piece in the future. I don't know, but unless he steps up his game and forces their hand, he's probably going to find himself in the situation that he is right now anyways.
Yeah, maybe a blessing in disguise, though. I think with Marner out, with Yarncroke out, there's going to be opportunity. Hell, I
Oh
would
yeah.
give it a look again. Robertson playing with Matthews, maybe playing with Bertuzzi. Like, I think we can both agree if Robertson's going to be a guy who's a mainstay on this roster, specifically in the Stanley Cup playoffs, he's not going to be on the third line. He's not going to be on the fourth line. He's going to be in the top six. So can you prove you can be a consistent producer in the top six? Play responsible. I mean, the jury's still on that front. There's 17 games remaining, but right away, I thought of Bob McMahon. I'm like, if there's somebody who can look at for inspiration, it's him. It happened to him. So much has changed in his life in like one short month. Robertson has it in him. I think the big story is not can this guy produce at the NHL level? Can he be a consistent guy game in and game out where you notice him, where he gets shots on goal, where he's buzzing, he gets opportunities. And that's what plagues a lot of players, right? Like that's a difference I think from like a full-time NHLer to a guy who's on the fringe, I think.
100%, especially when you're a skilled player. Like when you don't bring anything else to the table but your skill. And at the end of the day, it's your points that are speaking, right? Your plus
Mhm.
minus, your points. How often are you in the O zone? How many shots? How many scoring chances? What's your turnover rate? How often are you in the D zone? How often are you held in? All that stuff. Like if you're a skilled player, then you have to be a skilled player. And that means you have to play in the top six. And when you look at the Toronto Maple Leafs top six, sorry, but Bobby McMahon, you haven't or not McMahon, sorry, Robertson, you haven't done enough to crack the top six and to be a mainstay in the top six and to replace someone in the top six. So that's just, a victim of circumstance, you could call it. But it's the same thing with like a bubble guy in the American League trying to come up to the NHL. It's like you're lighting up the American League, but then when you get called up, well, you're not replacing any of those top six guys. You get called up because the third line guy got hurt, and then you go and play third line minutes, third line role, and you don't do anything because you don't forecheck hard, you don't hit, you don't chip it in, you don't dump and chase, you're not great in your D zone, and you're fucked. And you go up there and you don't produce anything, and down you go to the minors, and then he comes down bitching saying I didn't get a fair shake. It's one of those bubble guys. Like you're good. You're just not good enough to replace one of the guys in the role that you've presented yourself as being. So, victim of circumstance, maybe, but here comes an opportunity for him to try to change that.
This segment is brought to you by Tim Hortons. Roll Up to Win is back for Tim's 60th anniversary. And to celebrate their big year, you can win some big prizes like an all-electric Volkswagen ID4, a sun-soaked Hilton getaway, and cash with a daily jackpot of $10,000. Play today on the Tim's app. So Mitch Marner, it was revealed before Thursday's game, Rosie, that he's been dealing with a high ankle sprain, but it's believed to be a very mild one. He's not expected to be out long term. Again, Leafs fans have been very familiar with the high ankle sprain this year. Happened to Liljegren on the Marchand hit. Happened to Joseph Woll. Both guys missed significant time, but I guess this is a mild one. No reason to get concerned, I guess.
I don't know. I know high ankle
Scares me.
sprains suck. We
Yeah.
have gone through this and they're not fun and they take a long time to hurt or to heal, even a mild one. I've always kind of known and heard that sprains are worse than breaks sometimes. Obviously, maybe
Mhm.
not a mild one, but yeah, it's not ideal. But, and again, are they being honest? Is it a mild one? Like, I don't know. So it kind of sucks. And,
He
you
hasn't
know,
even skated.
I know those things you don't screw with. You turn a mild one into, a grade 3 or whatever the hell they call it. It's not something to screw around with. And this isn't the time of the season where you would need to risk Mitch Marner to keep him in the lineup. You take him out and you heal him up and you make sure he's 100%. So if it is a mild one, I think he'll probably take a considerable amount of time off until he's 100%. And I don't think that's going to be. I would think it's 2 weeks. Like, it's going to be 2 weeks. If he's not even skating right now, what's going to magically happen with an injury that's notorious for taking a long time to heal? So it is what it is. At the end of the day, that's all I can say about it. I don't know any more than that. And you just got to take it at face value that, okay, it's a mild ankle sprain and he's not skating and he's going to heal that up as much as possible. Everything at the Toronto Maple Leafs disposal, which is everything in the world, will be given to Mitch to try to heal that as fast and as properly as possible. With Calle Yarncroke, fuck, is that an ugly run into the boards, man? Like,
Yeah.
nothing about it, just kind of slipped out, caught his edge. But I don't know, fucking sometimes these guys in the league are falling head and neck first into the boards so awkwardly. Like, I would always just do everything I could to turn to get that shoulder. Like, you're falling into the boards, you just do everything you can with any bit of momentum going forward to crank it so your shoulder, your back takes the brunt of it. These guys are just like, there's the boards. This will turn my neck like this. And like, I bet you he has a shoulder separation and an AC joint separation. It looked like that's just what happens when you just peel your shoulder off your body like that. And he piled in with all his weight and everything behind him, momentum and weight, just compressed in on that spot. It was freaking ugly to see. I can see why he's injured, and I wouldn't be shocked if he's out for a considerable amount of time here, which they don't have to dick around with because season's ticking away.
17 games. What was puzzling, by the way, and maybe it's Keefe being Keefe, but he said he's probably going to miss some time. They won't know the full extent, of the injury till they get home. But he ruled out the shoulder and head as injuries. Like, as you just said, it's pretty blatant that it's like the shoulder going into the boards. So is it a leg injury? Like,
No, the only thing that makes me feel is maybe his neck's all piled up. Maybe he injured his neck or like pulled his trap up into his neck and it's all yanking on his head and he can't turn his head left or something like that. And they
Mhm.
don't know till they get some imaging done, make sure nothing's in. He'll see the chiropractor and do some acupuncture and get some graft in and some cupping and blah, blah, blah. Get that thing to feeling normal. Again, that makes sense to me. That's the only other thing I could think of that would be hurt in that situation if it's not his head or his shoulder.
Fair enough. Looking forward to return of Mitch Marner at some point in time, but I think it is very curious that this information came out. Having said that, I think they had to say something, especially considering he hasn't skated all week. And I know a lot of people out there stating that he finished that game against Boston. You've suffered an injury like that. I have too. It doesn't hurt till you take your skate off, right? And so it's not surprising that he finished that game because your skate pretty much acts as a cast sometimes. Then you take it off and it balloons out. So I could see that after that game, probably was like, oh shit, something's going on here.
Yeah, it does. I blocked a shot before in the beginning of a second period and broke my foot in two places and just kept playing the game, finished
Yeah.
the game. Your foot goes numb all the time when you take a clapper off these new skates that are so light they have nothing in them. It just did that and it was just tingly and cold feeling and okay, that hurts and you just keep playing. Took the skate off, went back to the city and walked out of the rink and physically couldn't walk, couldn't put any weight on it. Took an x-ray the next day. It was broken in like two, maybe three places. Like, holy shit, how does that happen? But yeah, that's that's classic. You got the adrenaline going, your blood's pumping, and you don't feel it till later. So must have been what happened. And yeah, I don't know why they're so coy about stuff like, I don't know, we're gonna play the Bruins and he's gonna like Bobby Clark his ankle now that they said it was his ankle. I don't know, but it's sometimes I understand it. Other times I'm just like, why are you so cryptic about this guy's injury? Like, how bad is it? What's the timeline? Like, they know what that is. They're going to say, this is what we're going to do for this amount of weeks. This is what's happening. Here's where we're shooting for your return. Hopefully that can always change, but I don't know. They don't seem to like releasing that information, which sometimes is annoying.
Yeah, the crazy thing is how avoidable that injury was. Like, had Mitch Marner just shot the puck and not try to do his loop-de-loop stuff around the net, we're not having this conversation. But hey, sometimes that's hockey. Every All-Star needs a sidekick to support them, just like every Wendy's meal needs a six-piece of nuggets. And right now, Wendy's is teaming up with Daily Fantasy Fantasy, to bring you weekly prizes like free nuggets, burgers, and more. So if you think you're an expert in all things hockey, prove it. And if you aren't already, start adding a six-piece to your Wendy's order for just $3.49. It's the dynamic duo even you never saw coming. Sign up for Daily Face-Off today, sponsored by Wendy's and the Wendy's app. So looking forward to these Saturday night games, St. Patrick's Day kilt, all that. The gear's going to be on. It's going to be green. And it's the Leafs and the Carolina Hurricanes. I hope the Canes are wearing their Whalers gear, by the way.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
That might clash with colors, no?
That'd be sick, though. Whatever. Love the
I
Whalers.
remember sometimes I was talking to a guy that says he's colorblind, and they had like a blue and
fuck.
green team playing, and he said he was just serving up pizzas all night because he couldn't frickin' tell quick enough what the colors are. But I think that might clash a little bit. But the Whalers stuff is unreal, no question. Carolina's a solid team, man. I think they just got better at the trade deadline. I think that they have been a good team for a while and just haven't quite gotten it done in the playoffs. And I think they're willing or looking to rectify that. So it'll be a big game and a big test. And if they can knock them off and continue on with this streak and then go into Philadelphia, you know that they're going to want retribution for the blowout they just had. So, a couple of games here that at this point in the year, with the way the playoffs are set up and the divisions and whatnot, I mean, it's not like every 2 points is detrimental to your future, but how you play and how you guys are feeling and how things are gelling in the chemistry is absolutely huge. So you want to roll as much of that together as you possibly can. Like you say, there's in the teens for how many games are left. Pretty soon it'll be single digit, and then away we go. So all these are imperative for sure.
Measuring stick game for sure. As you mentioned, Carolina added Jake Gensel and Evgeny Kuznetsov at the trade deadline. Freddie Anderson's back in the mix. They've been going back and forth with their goalies, by the way. And Anderson got the shutout against Florida on Thursday, so I wouldn't be shocked at all if it's actually Pyotr Kochetkov who starts the Saturday night game against the Leafs, who have won 12 of 15. Canes have won 4 of 5. We had the Samsonov-Woll conversation earlier on. Want to get your thoughts on Austin Matthews. I guess it's been decided in this market, and I guess we're all craving content as well, that Austin Matthews is not going to get to 70, but then he scores last night. So again, his pace is 70 goals, needs 15 and 17 to finish up the season to get to 70. Do you think he gets there?
I think it's more unlikely than likely, but I mean, he goes into one of these games here the next couple and buries a hat trick, which is very possible for a guy like him. All of a sudden it's back on the table, but I don't really care. I mean, it's cool if he gets to 70. It's nice to say, oh, look how good our guy is, but I just don't really, if it's 67 or 70, I don't really care, honestly. I'd prefer if he did, but yeah, as it comes down to it, will he or willing he? Well, fucking who? Nobody knows, dude. It hasn't happened. Nobody knows. No one knows. He doesn't know if he's going to get to 70. So maybe he's going to have to stay really hot and continue to be hot and be even hotter than he has been recently. Be as hot as he was, when he was really rattling off some goals to put him in the conversation of 70. So I don't know. Unlikely, but possible for sure.
If we're up to me, I would take those 15 goals he needs to get to 70 and apply them to the Stanley Cup playoffs. Ditto for Mitch Marner. That's all that's racing in my mind with Marner. Is this guy rushing back to get to 100 points? Again, I don't want to start that conversation, but I do recall and remember last year, Marner had 99 points. I've never seen the guy work harder in my life to try to get to 100. He didn't get there. That's the one thing that Marner hasn't done personally in his career yet, is get to 100 points. And I think the proof will be in the pudding. If Mitch Marner somehow returns in the next couple games, you know why that's the case. And maybe It's unfair to think that way, but I think personally, like whether these guys are going to admit it or not, Rosie, you played the game. These guys are proud guys. Players are proud. When McDavid says he doesn't want to get 8 billion assists in a season, he's lying to you. Like it plays a part. It shouldn't be the end game, but I think you should chase stuff like this sometimes too.
Well, keep in mind, contract talks with Mitch Marner are going to be coming up here before
Mm-hmm.
long. And when you're doing comparables and his agents comparing to these guys and those guys and what certain guys make, one of the obvious things the Leafs could do is say, all these guys have had 100 points. Mitch has never done that before. And that's going to be a talking point. So I'm sure it's on his mind to a certain extent. And like you said, he was obviously trying to get to 100 last year. This injury's not going to help him, but at the end of the day, he's a professional, and I hope that everyone in the organization, himself included, realizes that his health going into the playoffs is more important than any of that. But
Mm-hmm.
if there is a reason for him to start saying he's feeling better than he is, I believe it would be because of contract talks coming up and him really wanting to get to that 3-digit monumental number where you can say, I'm one of the guys in that century club that gets paid X, and here's why you need to pay me this. So might be on his mind, but there are bigger things out there team wise for sure.
Not having it. I'm giving Mitch Marner the benefit of the doubt. That's what I'm going to do here. Want to be one of the exclusive few to bring home a nuggie? Follow at Wendy's Canada on TikTok and check-in, daily at 3:49 p.m. Eastern time from March 11th to 15th. So today is the last day to see how to get one. Then grab a 6-piece of nuggets for just $3.49 to celebrate. Terms and conditions apply.
Feeling like the world just took a bite out of you? Well, no more. Introducing the Nuggie by Wendy's. Humans not included. Wendy's is not responsible if you get eaten.
There you have it, Wendy's, our good friends. Teach me how to nuggie. Teach me how to nuggie. We need to start a dance. Maybe producer Vic can get that going. The Betano wrap-up presented by Betano.ca. The game starts now. 19 plus. Please play responsibly. Major announcement, Betano is the official partner of Copa America 2024, taking the beautiful game to new heights in the Americas. Join Betano on their journey of passion, unity, and unforgettable football moments. Any bets you like over the next couple of days? I think looking at Saturday's game, probably going to play the under in that game, Rosie.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about having a nuggie and a snuggie. No bets. I don't know why I haven't learned. You keep throwing to me for the bets, and I'm never prepared. Do, do, do. Bruins, Flyers, Flames, Canadians. Flames are kind of imploding. Yeah, I don't know, something with who's hot. There's so many guys getting points lately. What do you
And I
got,
played
man?
the Bobby McMahon shot prop last night, and he had a deflection in the first period. They gave him the shot, then took it away, and then nothing else for the rest of the game. And then they're playing him on the fourth line because Yarncroke was hurt, and he's playing with Reeves. I'm like, this shot prop has gone to hell, so I didn't get it.
Yeah, tough. See who's in net. I'm more concerned about who's going to be playing in net, but the
Yeah.
under possible. Yeah, I don't have a bet for you, man. Take it away.
Okay, fair enough. Here's some homework for the weekend, by the way. Behind the scenes, we're doing a lot. Not only in terms of bettering this program, but bettering the product. And we're going to be releasing some merch over the next 6 weeks. So what we've been tasked with doing, and we want to reach out to those of you who watch and listen to the show on a daily basis, help us out. Can you give us a few buzzwords or sayings that would resonate with Leafs fans or Leafs morning take or anything like that going into the playoffs? If you want to leave that in the chat, by all means, Rosie, if you got anything you can work on the next couple of days, where we really want to build an identity like the Leafs all season. We've been looking for an identity on this program. One day we will find that identity. Maybe it's identity. Maybe that's your buzzword.
Yeah, something that coincides with the Leafs, with this show, with me or Nick or one of the players, something like that. We are not graphic designers and we are not big marketing guys. So we're reaching out to the chat and the fans to see if they come up with a good idea. And if you do, and we make that thing, you'll be getting it for free.
Yes,
Believe
that's it.
that.
That's a really good point. If you help us out and we're right, Zach Phillips, you don't get it free though. He writes in learning lessons. I like that. We got learning lessons. Producer Vic says hope. That's been a big staple of Jay Rosehill's mentality this season is hope to get
True.
there, hope to play
Not
well.
I'm ready to get hurt again. We're not going there. We're not doing that. A lot of the buzzwords are negative because they haven't won a cup in 60 years.
We got learning lessons. We got maybe next year. We got play with some jam. We got hope. Our chat is
Play with some jam.
fantastic.
I like it. I like it.
And
All
then that
that stuff. I
pigeon.
mean, you
Yeah.
look around at some of the things like I just got my kid for his birthday, like Mario. It's like Mario 3 and he's flying, but it's Pappy. It says Pappy 34, AM 34 Pappy, something like that's kind of cool. The Beavis and Butthead thing with Domi and Bertuzzi's pretty hilarious. Stuff like that that really is thoughtful and unique and hilarious is kind of what we're looking for. So do your worst there, chat folks.
And then we got that pigeon. Donnie does dishes, just always looking for a prize or something. What's the contest? And then he goes on to say, because he's a troll, excellent troll, we didn't start on time, which is an accurate assessment of the Maple Leafs. Learning lessons really sticks out to me because, again, that's been John Tavares' staple as a captain. Every time they lose a significant game, they're going to learn from it, man. They're going to learn from it. Well, I mean, it's recess at this point, Rosie. There's no more learning to take place.
Fuck. Yeah, learning lessons. They're all learned now. Time to win.
All right, so everybody in the chat, keep working on that. Leafs Morning Take 22@gmail.com is where you can send your suggestions. And again, as Rosie intimated, if we select yours, you will get free swag on us. So thank you to everybody in the chat. You guys are great. Been a big inspiration for this program. Similar to I want Nick Robertson use Bob McMahon as inspiration. The chat has been an inspiration. Everybody watching this show, you guys have been fantastic. At the Leafs Nation 401, Rosie, have a great weekend, buddy.
Peace.
Jay Rosehill, producer Vic, thank you very much. I'm Nick Alberga. We'll talk on Monday. Take care. Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long form interviews. We got clips. We got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.